I'm already starting to get a headache on this one, because Saiyuuki World is our second Wonder Boy game. The thing about Wonder Boy is that Sega owned the name Wonder Boy, but the developer Westone owned the games. So the core series maintained Wonder Boy, and eventually transitioning into Monster World. Westone licensed those same games out to other people to make their own versions. So Sega had Wonder Boy, but Hudson made Adventure Island. And in the case of Saiyuuki World, it's a version of Wonder Boy in Monster Land, the second Wonder Boy game. The original game was a running platformer, while Monster Land tried to fit an RPG-style adventure into an arcade game. Mainly what it comes down to is collecting money and upgrading your equipment as you go. Other names that this game goes by are Super Wonder Boy Monster World, Bikuriman World, and Super Adventure Island. Jaleco's Famicom version changes out Wonder Boy for the Monkey King. Saiyuuki is the Japanese title for Journey to the West. And because this isn't confusing enough, Jaleco would make their own sequel to Saiyuuki World that has nothing to do with any of the other Wonder Boy games. And that game had a Wonder Boy-style makeover in some regions as well. If you're curious about the family tree for Wonder Boy, I did a 5-minute long explanation of the series tacked on to the end of the episode for Takahashi Meijin no Bokenjima. The story for Saiyuuki World is that after returning with the scrolls to provide Buddhism to China, Sanzo and all of his monks are kidnapped. So now it's up to Goku to go fight all the monsters and get them back. Saiyuuki World is an action platformer where pressing B swings your weapon and pressing A jumps. Fairly standard stuff. You'll find doors as you explore, and behind most of these are shops, but sometimes it might be someone with some information for you. Or it could be a boss. And not all doors are visible. Occasionally you'll have a question mark appear. That indicates that there's a hidden door there. And those hidden doors are all extremely important. Important enough that if you don't enter them, you're going to have a hard time finishing the game. There are 6 types of shops you need to be aware of. Armor, shield, and boot shops are the most important ones. You buy permanent upgrades there. Obviously, armor reduces your damage, shields block projectiles, and the stronger shields reduce the knockback. Improving your boots will make you walk faster and jump higher. For those 3 shops, if you've already purchased the permanent upgrade, it gets replaced with a temporary power-up in the store. These power-ups are also dropped by enemies, so generally it's not a good idea to buy them. The helmet will eliminate damage for the next few hits, the gauntlets increase your damage, and the sandals let you slow your descent by tapping A. There are 2 other significant drops from enemies. A robe that makes you invincible for a few seconds, and a large heart that increases your maximum health by 1. Those maximum health increase drops are random, so if you get unlucky, you could go quite a while with low health. The spell store offers you a couple of abilities. You purchase a limited number of castings of the abilities, and use them by pressing up and B. The tornado follows the ground, there's a bouncing shot, and a straightforward fireball. And occasionally enemies will drop a thunderbolt which damages everything on the screen if you use it. This snake woman sells hints, and the last shop is used to restore your health. As you're running around, there's a timer on your health bar. It's not visible anywhere, but occasionally you'll just tick down 1 hit point, and collecting an hourglass resets that timer. There's a few big changes between Saiyuuki World and Wonder Boy and Monster World. Saiyuuki World crams in a few extra levels, but the really big change is that now there's loot hidden everywhere. You're not going to have a problem getting fully equipped in Saiyuuki World. The game just throws money at you if you jump in the correct place. Enemies will respawn, but they only drop money the first time that you kill them. So keep that in mind as you play. The absolute worst thing in Saiyuuki World is the knockback from the enemies. There seems to be no invulnerability frames for you, though there are invulnerability frames for the bosses which you should take advantage of to get through them. Without invulnerability frames, what often happens is you'll get hit, and then hit into something else, and then hit into something else, and you'll just bounce around as your health melts away. It's especially bad before you get some armor upgrades. Given that, armor upgrades should be your highest priority. Then shield, then sandals. Though for shields and sandals, I found that those shops were a bit rarer. When you die, it's game over, and it pops right back to the title screen. However, there is a cheat code to continue from the stage you died at. Press down and hit start to continue. Saiyuuki World isn't wildly difficult, and with that cheat code, you'll be able to finish it pretty quickly. I reached the last stage, which was a maze that kept sending me back, and I feel like I could have beaten the game if I had given it another 15 minutes or so, but I already had enough footage and I had beaten the game in the past. Something you have to be careful about is the sword upgrades. You're given a sword at the start of the game, and then every upgrade after that doubles your attack power. However, all of the upgrades are hidden behind secret doors. You'll go through them and then have to fight a boss, and that's how you get the next upgrade. So they can be easy to miss, and if you do miss one, you'll wind up in pretty big trouble. Saiyuuki World is built on the bones of a pretty good game, and so it winds up being alright to play, though I think Jalico's port is not the strongest. That knockback is really annoying, and I think they just throw too much money around. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game either. I'd call Saiyuuki World a solid second-tier Famicom game. Not something you have to get and play, but one that's still pretty enjoyable.